it twice.
Okay, this is the tree that we're going to capture a nest of honey bees, and he's filled the one hole or part of the hole with the foam, and then you'll see the rest in a little while. You notice the bees at the top of the hive in the tree. They're in there. So we'll get more in a little bit.
Just hit the big button and stop the red.
Here is the two parts to the rest of what we're going to do at this tree. The screen netting that's going to go over the other part of the entrance to their tree hive, and the platform to the right is where we're going to put the capture hive.
How are you?
Is spraying the foam up at the other part of the entrance, and we'll leave a small opening to put the capture net on. Today is Saturday, July the 13th, 2014. Okay.
Oh, look, they're starting to go through that hole already.
Huh?
They're going
through it already.
Yeah, they're gonna try to cut me, which is fine.
This is so interesting. Now, have you all ever done this before, like this exact
time
type of...
I've done it.
No.
Really? Okay, so this is so interesting because this is all kind of
I
experimental.
want to bend that. So it's going to be kind of tricky.
I was noticing yesterday at that hive there are way more bees than there was even a week and a half ago.
That's
way
good.
more. They were going nuts yesterday, working.
Let's hope they didn't swarm.
No, it was not a swarm. They were just working. They were working hard.
Okay, that's the hard part.
Okay.
Now, I got to get the foam now. That's the key. Can't have any.
Searched on the internet on his stuff, and now he's just filling the rest of the gap so the bees can't get back
I
in.
don't know how high up this goes. They could find another exit. Bees are very creative.
Yeah, I've never seen them swarm high or like there's a cut in the tree right there, but I've never seen any activity up there. I've looked kind of to see.
I don't think they can get in the side.
Never assume.
Well, put your ladder over on this
I
side.
will as soon as I get this taken care of. I don't want it to fall out and lose all that.
Oh.
Okay, this is a continuation of the honeybee Trapout. This tree is about 10 feet. The entrance is about 10-12 feet off the ground, so it's a lot easier access than most bee trees. So I've got a nook up there now with 4 frames in it and a platform that I built to hold it. And the cone you can't see on this side, but I'll wrap around here so that you can see what it looks like. The Trapout cone is just above, so now you can see the bees up there between the nook and the cone, and those are the ones that have been in the field and are coming back, and any that leave, as in that one that just is getting ready to leave right there, it will come back and find the same situation. But the entrance to the nook is facing the tree. There's 2 or 3 holes there at the bottom. Plus there's some lemon balm in the nook, and after a week or so, if this is gonna have some workers in there, some field bees, then I'll add a frame of brood, which will make it much more attractive. And so I'll leave this up here probably somewhere in the vicinity of 2 to 3 weeks. That should get even more worker bees as they graduate from nurse bees to worker bees. We should be able to pretty much fill the box. So we'll see how it goes. So, this is G. Wooster signing off.
This is our hive at our pastor's house, just west of
Got some ants.
Danville.
Got some of that cornmeal you want one to get it.
So we're gonna put cornmeal here on the corner of the hive to get rid of all these ants.
You want to get back. Come on, get back. Because these are going to be not happy when they pop this cover. Remember, I warned you.
Oh, wow.
How is this hive?
Well, I'm working them without smoke, so if they come after you.
Run.
Now, this is a new box I put on top. You have a super prolific queen. It's so prolific that she's laid her brood all the way from here, all the way over to here. Now, you can see the different stages of brood if you look carefully. I'll get out here in the sun. See, these are larvae here. See, they look like big, fat, juicy worms.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see if I can find some eggs for you to see. And the normal pattern is honey in the corners, and if the frame was larger, you'd have a band of honey across and down like that, like an arc, like a rainbow. And then under that, you'd have a thin band of pollen. See the pollen here, compressed? And they bring it in on their back legs, and they brush it off in the cell.
The pollen?
Yep. Okay. And then they take their heads, which are shaped, interestingly enough, like half of the hexagon.
Huh.
And
wow.
they use their head as a ramrod and pack it.
Wow, that's amazing.
Okay. And all these flat cells you see here, those are typical worker cells, or those sterile females. If it was a queen, it would be hanging down kind of like this, the end of this thing here. It'd hang down like that. Totally different looking cell. And a drone sticks above the level of this, and it's bigger around. It looks more like a bullet on end. You can flip it over, and she's done the same thing. Now, let's see if I can find an egg. An egg is
So the sealed ones,
those are sealed brood now, so then it's going to go through a stage of finishing eating, and then it's going to, you know, the food that's in the cell, and then it will pupate twice. And a worker takes 21 days. A drone takes 24 days, and a queen, which is the most important, only takes 15 days if they use the latest stage of larva that they can.
Where was the larva? I didn't see it.
It's the white.
The white stuff?
Now, if you move...
Or the whatever you look like a worm.
Now, if you look all the way out in this... Yeah, this is the 21st of June, the first day of summer, I believe. And we're at my pastor's residence, and I put a hive in his property way back there. You can see next to the woods. And he had some bees that had been in one of his trees here, and we did a trap out about 7 days ago, and came by yesterday and took the box down just to look inside and see what was going on, and it was stuffed with bees. So the plan today is to leave the box where it is, take the lid off if that works, and just take frame by frame down and put it in another box, and we're going to put it over there next to the hive. Now, I'm aware you move bees either an inch or a mile, but in this case we have a different situation, because we're going to leave the box up there, put more frames, because I figure another week or two, continue on the trap out till we get most of the nurse bees that will again rotate out and become fly bees, so flight bees or nectar gatherers and pollinators, they'll still be coming out for at least another week. And I got some bees already interested in me, so I'm going to get on with this. But we put a frame from that hive over there in the distance from one of the mediums up here in this nook yesterday. So we're going to proceed and see how it goes. My lovely wife and partner Marianne here will take some pictures, maybe if I'm too busy, of what it really looks like inside the box. Give them some more lemon bombs when I do. Just keep filming, I'll get the frames.
Okay. The lid's over there on the left. Here?
Huh?
The lid's right there. Do we want to put another thing of brood in that one?
Shallower frame. I mean, a shallower edges on the telescoping cover, so I can get it on without disturbing the Trapout device. Gotta see all the bees that are in here already.
You want the camera? Huh?
There we go. That's it. They got pollen on their little legs. They're looking for their place of residence. So those will all go back in there. Then we'll combine them later. So why don't you bring it down? We'll go look at that other one and see what we got from.
Get the smoker.
Yeah, with the smoker from yesterday. See if they've done anything with that.
Are those going to be okay over there?
Yep. I'll be happy when it's propolized. So I need to take 2 bricks over there. I'm going to take 2 of these bricks and put them over there on that hive. Nook. Double stack nook. A whole lot of traffic back. This proves the secret. So there's one of your exceptions. Just learned, and so did I. Portable new trick because I never actually tried that one. And it makes sense. It's logical.
Here.
Those giant ants. You see those big black ants?
No.
So watch when I raise this. Now watch these big ants come out of here.
They won't be propolized.
Can you see them? The big ones? See how big they
Yeah.
are? That's a centipede there.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take a picture of the cornmeal. We put cornmeal on the tops of the inner covers. That kind of gives the, when the ants eat that stuff, it gives them a good case of constipation, and they die basically. But in the process, they carry it to some of the other, many of the other ants, and so it kind of controls the ant population under your hive. Generally, ants don't invade the hive, of course, unless they're the type that would benefit from eating bees / nectar honey. And there are some that do, and they can overwhelm a hive, particularly if it's weak to begin with. So this is a new super we put on
Yesterday.
no, this was the one I think we put on 7 days ago when we came out, because it's got new wax in it. They wouldn't have drawn it out that much.
The new one's below it.
I think I'm going to take a look here and see what we got. We've got a darker circle here. Don't get too close. A darker circle, it was an old brood area, and they had this filled with nectar, and now it's probably, let's see if it shakes out any. Not really. So it's pretty close to being cured. It's the old shake test. If it's watery, it comes out easy, and if it's slightly watery, if you shake it, it'll still come out. It's not an absolute test you'd use for 17% moisture, anywhere from we'll say 18 to 17 or 16.5 in really arid places. It can get honey can get very viscous, more so than you'd think, because it depends on the ambient temperature. You get up in the desert area, bees don't have to work too hard to cure their honey. Just move some air, and the lack of humidity, it sucks it right out. Honey doesn't.
You want me to hold it?
This hive is basically going to be a honey super. So I'm not going to look any more at that. But I did put, I think it was the one underneath, because I took it from the brood chamber of the super below. This one has about, oh, it's gotten heavier since yesterday, so there's a honey flow on. This probably got about maybe 10 pounds of honey. You can tell pretty much by weight once you get used to feeling them. A little smoke here just to let them know you're here. See if we can find that frame that was just empty that we put in here yesterday. Just out of curiosity, since they're so busy. I think this might be this one right here. See if they've done anything with it. Well, what they've done is, this was a drawn out comb from last year, and They've cleaned it all up immaculately, and they have already started storing. Can you see it? Nectar. Don't get too close because they won't really be able to see it, but focus will be an issue. They're starting to store nectar right in the center part over here. It's got a little bit of a bend or wave to it, but that won't matter. They'll still. Yep, they're starting to already put nectar in there. So this particular hive is a deep on the bottom, a medium on top of that, and that is generally their brood chamber. It used to be 2 deeps, but it's too much weight for me to mess with, so the deep on the bottom usually is pretty permanent to the bottom board. And as you can see, I have it stapled on to the bottom board. This has a screen bottom board, which I don't necessarily like, but I'm an old timer, and sometimes I think they're actually more of an issue of a hazard than they are. If you have a regular bottom board, I mean, you may have some more beetles, but if you treat your beetles and take care of them, it's not going to be an issue. Bottom line is,
it's got lots of honey.
now this is a typical brood chamber frame. They're going to turn this eventually into a honey super, because they're pulling the there's pollen right here and a little dab over here and through here. This whole thing was probably a band of pollen originally, and as you can see, this area through here is dark, was brood, but they've drawn it out more. And if you count the frames in my supers, these are all 10 frame boxes or supers, and of various sizes. I use mostly deeps and mediums, and I have at least 20 shallows. It makes good cut comb, but bottom line is, they'll move the brood out, and since there's only 9 frames, the B gap, which is about I think it's 3/8 cents, whatever, it is slightly larger, which has a tendency for them to draw out more burr comb. And but if they're busy like they are today and bringing in nectar, it's not such an issue. It only becomes an issue in that case when the super is pretty much 70% filled, and then they start adding burr comb. So that's really about the time you want to add another honey super. So this one has deep, a medium, which is the brood chamber. We'll probably leave that with honey and brood, and probably this whole medium for winter. That will be filled probably at the rate they're going in another week or 2, and then we'll put another one on top. Sometimes I take the honey off in midsummer, or even now if they have basswood and black locust and honey locust and that sort of thing. But these hives weren't really established when those trees were in bloom. So, and the other thing is, trees don't always bloom every year. Well, they bloom every year, but they don't always give nectar. So, this hive has got a very prolific queen, and her laying pattern is marvelous. Probably the best hive I have out of the 15. I have one that's, I don't know, it's just terrible queen, and she's going to be requeened in a short while. And then we'll rebuild her up, because I'm using the Michael Palmer Palmerized Nooks and builder hives, and I can borrow from them to start a new hive. But my wife is standing in the flight path because she's videoing. But you see down here, there's a little bit of that cornmeal came off the top, which doesn't hurt anything. Except I really don't know its effect on bees, but we just got it off of there anyway, so not an issue. So this is the hive that we started with at this location as an outyard at the preacher's place. Pastor. Now we have a Trapout hive over here, which is a 2-story nook, which has 5 frames each. It's not a palmerized nook, which only has just got stung by a bee inside my pants. But it gave me a shot right in the knee. Probably hurt any arthritis I might have or not know about it or get in the future. So I can't scratch out this stinger, so I guess I'll just get the. Usually when I smack them, if I don't get them, they already lost their stinger, so they'll just fall out the bottom of my pants when I take them off, probably. So here's what this snook looks like now. It was covered with bees, but like all good bees, they scent. There's some back here in the back corner, but they will work their way around to the front with my help and with just the fact that the females out here in on the entrance and up here have got their Nasonov gland at full force and they're scenting, so the bees will eventually find them, probably long before dusk. But this hive is just stuffed with bees. It has one medium frame of brood that's a little shorter than, of course, the deeps that are in there that I borrowed from the other hive. And I was kind of surprised that they hadn't started any queen cells, at least on the frame that I gave them. But they do have 4 queen cups. But when I checked them yesterday, there was nothing in them, and I would expect that that would be true. The only thing I could hope is that we don't end up with an already established laying worker that hasn't actually started laying yet, but is accepted already by all the other females. There are no drones, to my knowledge, that I saw in all of this work with this hive, so the very last thing you can expect of this hive is a swarm, because they've got no queen, and if they do swarm, they're dead, because there's no way they can succeed without a queen. So I'll check it again in about a week and see how that frame is doing with the brood and the eggs and larvae. So that's a continuation. Come over here. So we'll get back to the nook. Continuation of the Trapout is the nook that was full of bees. The frames were taken out and put in the one that you just saw, and we put 5 new frames and some lemon balm, and they've already started into that hive big time because they're already used to that now. I haven't seen a lot of traffic going back and forth from this nook to the one I just placed, which is a good sign, because I think that brood helps to keep them in place, because they have the semblance of a hive without a queen. But as you can see, there's still a lot of them trying to get back into that hole in the tree that's been covered and has the Trapout funnel on it. So you see them at the base of the funnel, and there have been very few bees that I've seen coming out of there. So my guess is that all the flying or field bees are out, and the ones you see on the Trapout at the base next to the tree are probably new field bees that may have come out yesterday, and they're not quite used to the concept of going into the nook yet, so they're trying to still get back into the tree. But I thought I'd leave it up there another week, just in case there was another cycle or two of nurse bees that want to come out. Then they'll only come out, of course, when they're kind of mature enough to take their orientation flights, and of course when that happens, then they come back, or when they try to go back in, they will be right where you see the other ones, right at the base of that funnel, trying to get back in. So maybe in another week we'll get enough bees to totally fill another nook, at which case I could take the frames out of that one you saw down there, the 2-story nook, and put 5 from this one and 5 from that one into standard deep, and we've got the start of another hive. All we need is a queen. So there you go. That's how you do it. This is the first time I've tried this In all my years of beekeeping, I've seen it done. I've looked at it on YouTube. If you understand the basics of it, it works pretty good, actually. This would work like a charm. I put this board up today because when you get 5 frames of bees in there, along with the weight of the nook, there's a lot of weight on this end. It's about physics. So you just put some sort of a brace that you can tack to the tree and tack to the end, and it makes it surprisingly stronger. So when we take this down eventually, we will take that funnel off and we will block that hole with more foam, and that'll be the end of the bees. So that's it. This is G. Wooster signing off. Well, here it is, the 2nd of July, and this is the bee tree we did the trap out on, and those little beggars have found a way in, so we're going to seal them up next visit.